Have you ever been in a situation where you're working on a large project? You need to bring in a bunch of families and views into your project, and the native function in Revit is slowing you down. Not only is it tiresome to add families outside of Revit into your project, it's a pain trying to find these families through the project browser, not to mention trying to find some of your drafting views that all may have a very similar name. Here at Axiom, we know that time equals money, and we want to save you as much time as we possibly can. Enter Family and View Studio. Family and View Studio is the best solution for you to easily find and place your families and views into your project within a matter of seconds. Here, let me show you. Okay, I already have my Family and View Studio window opened. I can choose to minimize that window, drag it around, or drag it into a second screen so that I can work in my Revit project at the same time. Right now, I'm going to maximize that window. You'll notice that I have a nice little search bar where you can search for your families and views. So right now, the search bar tells me that I can search my 178 loadable families. You'll notice that we also have a search history. So Family and View Studio will show you your last 5 searches in your search history. If I want to search for views, I'm going to go ahead and click that little toggle just above the search bar and switch over to views. You will see that this now has changed to showing you that there's one loadable view. I don't have many views in my project right now, but I will bring in some outside of Revit in a second, and I'll show you how that works. I have the option to browse all families instead of just searching for a particular keyword. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and search for sofa. I also have the option to select a search filter and where I actually want to search for that family. So I am looking for families in the following categories: family name, type name, category name, parameter value, and tags. Tags are something that we created within Family and View Studio to help you refine your search and search for a whole bunch of families that you create a tag for. I will show you that a bit later on in this video as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and search for sofa. I'm going to click enter, and here are all my families with sofa in the family name. So you'll notice that we give you a nice little thumbnail image. So when you hover over that specific family, we will enlarge that thumbnail for you. You also have the option to switch over to a thumbnail view. If you don't like looking at too much of text and you prefer to actually look at the thumbnail of that family, we've given you a nice little thumbnail view so that you can actually look at all of those thumbnails. We do have a show more options feature. So if I click into one of my families and I press show more options, it will give me all of the parameter names and values associated with that family. I can then create an instance of this family, so I can place this family into my project, delete it from my project, and add a tag. So I spoke about a tag earlier. So this is for a Fritz Hansen sofa. So if I want to create a tag for this specific sofa, I can come into this one as well and add Fritz Hansen. You'll notice that when I go to my search filters, and if I uncheck my filter options and I leave my, so I'm just going to uncheck that. And if I leave my tag search on and I search for Fritz Hansen, those two families that I've just tagged will come up due to that tag that I have on there. So I'm back in my table view with my search for sofa. You'll notice that we have different columns in this table view, so category, family, type, and loaded. With the type column, we will show you the different types of that family that is in your project and whether it is loaded or not. So here you'll see that there are 2 families of sofas loaded into my project already. If I would like to load this family into the project, I can click the ellipsis key. That's right over here. And I can actually load that into my project from that key. You'll notice when I do this, there's a little upgrade happening from 2019 to 2024. You might need to just refresh some of your thumbnails here. And now that family is loaded into my project. Okay, so now I'm going to place that family. So I'm going to go ahead and either double click or I can drag and drop. I can choose the ellipsis button key as well to do that. And I'm going to place my sofa right here. And as soon as I place that, I'm ready to search for a new family. You'll also see that we have a home icon right here. So if I click that icon, it takes me back to the home page. I also have the option to switch on and off certain settings. This is to suppress any Revit warnings while updating thumbnails, which can be quite annoying. We have an option to automatically display thumbnails, hide empty parameters as well, show duplicate families, show loaded families, show non-loaded families, minimize this window when creating an instance. You'll see that I have that on when I place that family into my project, and enabling editing of parameter values. So we do have this as an experimental setting for now, where you can actually change parameter values of a specific family. And we have the option to always show the family and View Studio window on top of other windows. You'll also see that we have a batch loading option. So if I'm searching for sofa, I click enter and I decide, okay, well, I want to now load all of these 4 families into my project. I can go to this option under the batch loading menu, which is browse all non-loaded families from current search. If I open that window up, here are all of my non-loaded sofa families and their types, which I can just go ahead and load into that project. The second option we have is the browse all non-loaded families. So these are all of the families which are not loaded into the project that I have from my folders. And what do I mean by folders? So this is where we choose to bring in families and views outside of Revit that we might have on our local drive or network drive. And I can go to File. So I'm going to go to File, an option called where to search for families and views. You'll notice that there's 2 options. One is add folder containing families or views to be included, and the second is a add shared database file. The add shared database file is a folder of families or a folder of projects where there are a bunch of users actually manipulating that data, and everyone works off the same shared file itself. So I'm going to show you the first option of how to actually bring in families and views outside of Revit. You'll see that I have a folder file path that has a database location, which I can actually go ahead and change to wherever I'd like that database to be stored. And I have an add folder option, or add folder families or add folder views. So I'm going to go ahead and do families for now. And I'm going to choose this folder and going to go ahead and say update such database. And when I click that, I'm just going to select that folder and I'm going to click on update search database. And when I click that, I'll get a notification saying that there's 3 families that do not match the current version of Revit that I'm in. So those families are obviously not 2024 families, but an earlier version. I'm going to say yes, and there's going to be a little upgrade. Okay, so once Revit updates those families, you'll be taken back into Family and View Studio, and those families have now been added. So if I search for chair, these are my 3 chair families that I've brought in because they are not loaded into my project right now. And it's as simple as that. And I can choose to load that in as we did before, just simply, place that into my project. Now that we've discussed families and what you can do with families within Family and View Studio, let's move on to views. So I'm going to move that toggle from families to views. I am now in a different project just to show you a bit more views in this project. I'm going to switch my toggle from families to views just like I did before. And we have a nice little thumbnail view on default with all the views in your project. Family and View Studio will show you all views that have been loaded into your project, highlighted in green text. Anything that's not loaded as a view into your project in the thumbnail view will be grayed out like this. You'll notice that we've included the project name that this view actually comes from. You'll also see that I have one added here under folder of views. You'll know exactly which project that view is actually coming from. We also have the type of view, so you will be able to see legends, details, and drafting views. And I can go ahead and just place what I like. So I'm going to search for partition. And you'll see that we found 10 views named partition in this view search results. I'm going to go ahead and place one of those views. And you'll also notice that we do have a zoom bar as well. So especially for views that look very similar to each other and are named very similar naming conventions to each other, you'll be able to see the physical differences in these views. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select a drafting view of my partition. I can choose to drag and drop or right-click and actually create a view. You may get a informational message saying it seems like this view is already placed. This is because this exists in my project already, but I want to place that again. So I'm going to go ahead and click yes, and it's as easy as that. I place that and it's in my sheet, and that's all done, simple and easy. If you'd like to trial or want to know more about the product, please contact us at support@axiomint.com. Thank you.